Living my life. Hey, what's happening, gang?
Guys, happy Memorial Day weekend.
Sorry, we're running a couple minutes behind. We're all good now. Our engineer had to pick his car up for the shop there. He's running late. Had to take the train to work today. To King of Prussia. So, what's happening out there? Everybody got a big weekend planned? Yes, no, maybe so. Welcome to Living Hopeful.
Yes, the weather's supposed to be amazing, at least here in Pennsylvania. So, the entire weekend. Oh, Monday's going to be 81. Woohoo! Going to be going to watch the annual parade, Memorial Day parade. Going to be thinking of all the men and women that didn't make it home. Trying to, keep our freedoms.
Tell them we'll be right back in 1 second. We're going to fix that weird noise.
Okay, we have a weird noise going on.
We got a weird noise situation.
We're going to be right back. Hang tight, and we will be right back.
Here.
No, it's that weird thing that happens when the computer updates. And it was fine last year.
All right, gang, I just got to give a little jibber jabber here. Lori went out to get another book, but yeah, we're gonna do another section out of the Smart Recovery Workbook tonight. Seemed to work out really well last weekend. We've also been using it at our family meeting on Wednesdays. It seemed to go over well. This Wednesday we tried it for the first time, and we got a pretty good response towards it. But I'm waiting on Lori. Just remember, this weekend. Big drinking weekend, Might test the waters on some of you out there, you go out to these events, be strong, and you know what you got to do. If it gets too overwhelming, excuse yourself, get out of Dodge if you have to. But I think most of you out there are all pretty well past that stage, but we do have a couple of people that are still kind of fresh in recovery that tune in there, and don't try to tough it out too much if you feel like it's really bothering you. Maybe not as much to a relapse, but just making you uncomfortable is what I'm really getting at. Don't make yourself uncomfortable. Excuse yourself. I don't know. Say the heat's getting in. Whatever you got to do. But stay strong out there. And I know I had some complaints about microphones in front of my face, and it is. I noticed that right now. But my engineer says I have a face for radio. So.
Hey guys, I hope you're all back with us. I see Eric popped in.
Yeah, Eric is in the house, man.
Yes.
He's still out there. Beautiful day. Yeah, I saw him by YouTube. Good choice, Eric.
Not sure if Larry's back with us. He was in before we had to sign off to come back on again.
Yeah, we
Gloria.
had some kind of funky noise going on there, some
I
kind
was
of.
able to keep the show running, so.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
So, hope everybody has some enjoyable plans for this weekend. Hope you can get together with your family, and
Them enjoyable plans are very, very, very important.
they're very important, especially if you're going to be with family. And, some families, they're going to be having some issues because their loved one may be in
Larry
treatment.
thinks he's here. He's not 100% sure, but Larry thinks he's here. It's good enough
And
for
if
us.
they're not and they're in treatment or they are still active, just look at it as, the next Memorial Day, they may be with you. If they're in early recovery, be patient with them. They may not be able to go to some of the functions out there due to the alcohol use.
And it could be a trigger. You smell that old-fashioned lighter fluid on them charcoal briquettes. Takes you back.
Yeah.
Could be a trigger, that smell.
And so you have to be careful because, a lot of these barbecues, they have, alcohol
I
involved.
got people walking around and you jello shot this and that. You're like, oh man, and it makes you look like a tool. Go, oh no, I'm good. And they're like, well, what's the matter? Are you drinking? Oh my God, you know how that works.
Hey, Barb. I'm not sure if you're saying good night, guys, because you're going to bed, or you're saying, oh, good night. I made it. I'm assuming you're saying good night because you have to be up early, so I get it. I hope you're doing well. But these are some of the things we've discussed it several times, that to have some kind of backup, some kind of escape route, some kind of code word that you can tell somebody, because sometimes you just have to go and you don't want to have to say your goodbyes and so have that person to go to and say, like, peanut butter and
Tippy toes, tippy toes.
Something, just a
Little
code
Seinfeld
word that
reference there.
they know that you are leaving and they can make your excuses for you. You had the trots, whatever, just to get,
Trots. Now, there's an old phrase. I
just
love
so that
phrase.
you can, get out of that situation, get to a meeting, call your sponsor, call your call line, your call numbers, anybody that can get you through that, that trigger. So, with that, I mean, that's the best, chance you have of, making it through these times. Also, see if you can bring somebody that is long-term, maybe your sponsor, that can get you through that event and help you.
And hello, Gloria. Did you say hello to Gloria?
Yep. Hello, Gloria. So these are just some of the things that, you have to be mindful of. You have to be mindful of when you say, oh, we're all going to Aunt whatever for a barbecue, and they say, I'm going to stay home. I'm not going to do that.
Well, you got to go with a good aunt name. What's a good aunt name? Eric, what's a good aunt name?
Aunt Rose.
Aunt
Rosie.
Flossie.
Aunt Flossie. But, these are the situations that you're in. And this is where you have to say, I'm just not going. I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel strong enough right now. And that has to be good enough, because you don't
does.
want that to interfere with their early recovery.
Right. And remember, your recovery comes first.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, don't worry about ruining the event because you didn't feel comfortable going. There'll be other events. I mean, be strong and put your recovery first. Really,
Aunt Flo, I gotta go.
What do you think?
And Barb,
Flo, I
Barb wants
gotta
to
go.
share something, so share something she's proud of. So
Thank you,
you
Eric. I
can
knew you'd have a
either call us in at 267-737-8031 or pop it in the comment. We'll be happy to read it out. And so please do share. That's what this is all about. This show is about, suggestions, sharing, your experience, getting your strength, and, giving hope to others that are in those situations that they're still struggling. So please feel free to give us a holler, and we'll be happy to share it.
There, my face is more visible.
There, he's more visible. But last week we started with reading out of the Smart Recovery book, and we did it again on Wednesday night at our family group.
I recapped all that.
And they really seem to enjoy it, and it really seemed to help some people. So we're going to continue with that. It's I think like 12 or 13 chapters, 14 chapters. So each week we're going to do a section, and hopefully it'll resonate with people and hopefully be helpful to somebody out there that may need to find these tools. And the book we're reading from, this is the Family and Friends book. And you can get that at smartrecovery.org. And if you go to the Living Grin Family Support Group on Wednesday, every other Wednesday. So we had it last Wednesday. Our next one is June 7th. So you'll be getting a book if you attend the groups there, or you can purchase an extra one if you want. But it's just learning the tools. I just got certified in this, and I really haven't been practicing it. So I am also doing co-chairing or co-facilitating a meeting on Thursday nights at ProAct in Bristol. That starts at 6:30. So I found this program to be pretty good, so I wanted to bring it to you guys. And they also have workbooks and books like this to help our loved ones that are struggling or in recovery. So this is a very helpful tool for both sides. So Barb was nominated for Support Staff Professional of the Year. Good for you, Barb.
Man.
That is so awesome.
Hey, that's cool.
That is just really cool, and I want to thank you for sharing that, because these are the things that we get when we
Don't forget all us little people you met on the way up.
yeah. These are just some of the things that we gain back when we are struggling from an addiction, and just things that you can receive living a life of
Hello,
sobriety.
Christine. Glad you could make it, dear.
Christine, hey. So Barb, I'm very proud of you. That's awesome. That is amazing. And
I'm very happy for you.
yes, I'm very happy with with your whole process, and to be here to watch it and see how proud you are of it, and you very much should be proud of it. You deserve all the
Yeah, you
kudos,
deserve it.
because you did the work, and and that's what this is about, doing the work and getting where you want to be. So good for you. Proud of you.
Yeah, it proves to yourself, man. You've made very good changes for yourself, and things are changing for you. And I if I wore a hat, I would take my hat off to you. But
Yes.
it gives me head. But that's awesome news, Barb.
Yes. So I hope anybody that is out there can, enjoy a day with the family or friends, or just enjoy the weekend, because it's for some of us, it's a long weekend. I'm not sure if you're going to be pouring out some coffees tomorrow, Barb, but just enjoy the family time if you can. And We're going to start off with section 2 of the book, and it's called Self-Care and Self-Rewards. Addiction has a way of quickly throwing lives out of balance. Ask yourself the following questions. Are you obsessing over your loved one's addiction and feeling confused and helpless? Which, hello, we all are at that point. In the beginning, it's, and after, any relapse. Are you finding it hard to get anything done? That is the one thing that in the beginning is really hard to get through, because you're just constantly obsessing on what you can do to help them, what can you do to fix them, what can you do to make it better for them.
What are they doing?
Yeah, and
it's just you go into a whirlwind.
yeah, and
then
you become paralyzed from the obsession. And I know that was true for me. That was really true for me. I mean, I couldn't think. I couldn't even consider doing a dish like that. That's what it's about. It's just, in the beginning, it's very hard, and that's why these programs are great, because they teach you how to get stronger and how to, find the times to, sit and think about what's going on in your life.
Yeah, it just brings balance and structure back into your life. I mean, like Lori says, it just, your life becomes total chaos. And the simple everyday things, I mean, you can't focus on nothing. I mean, you become obsessed. I mean, with your loved one. Your loved one becomes your addiction.
Yes.
And just like their addiction, it's just chaos.
Are you having difficulty staying focused on anything else in your life? Absolutely. It's really hard until you get educated and find ways to improve your lifestyle and move further on. Are you reluctant to make plans to do anything because you never know when the other shoe is going to drop?
Boy, we hear that one all the time. People are afraid to go on vacation, they're afraid to go away for a weekend.
Yep.
For fear of something could happen.
Yeah.
It's very common.
That is so true, especially when they may be in treatment and then they come out, and then your life stops because you want to make sure that they're going to meetings, so you're taking them, you're following them, you're watching them, and it's just not healthy. It's not healthy for you. It's not healthy for them.
And you're afraid to take a complete breath sometimes. You're always waiting for that other shoe to drop. You're just, you're afraid, you don't want to become distracted or too complacent, or that something's going to happen, you're not going to be able to handle it. I mean, your mind is just going in 100 different directions.
Right. And their mind is still, reeling from, coming out of treatment and, trying to find their place and trying to feel what suggestions they need to take, if they're even willing to take the suggestions. So, yeah, that's so true. Are you finding that you're neglecting some important responsibilities because you're distracted and overwhelmed by the big problem? Absolutely.
Very much so. You're probably neglecting your other family members or your other children or the whole rest of the family because you focus everything on that one individual, and it might be affecting your work, your focus at work, your ability to get up for work.
Right.
I mean, it just takes its toll on you and runs you down. You become as run down as they are.
Yep. Barb says she wrecked a couple vacations, and that's unfortunately some of the things that occur, and some of that can occur as well when we're sober too. Because everybody's on edge in the beginning. So, kind of keep that in mind and try to, let your guard down a little. And
I wouldn't say you wrecked them. You just preserved your well-being. I mean, don't be so hard on yourself. Everybody knew what you were going through. And, it was a sacrifice that was well made.
Are you finding that you're oh, I did that one. Blah. Many family and friends answer one or more of the above questions with yes. This section provides tools for assessing your current levels of emotional distress and tools to help you restore balance to your life. The balance you need in order to calmly and effectively manage the challenges you face. So we're just going to get into it. And, these are the things that you want to really consider when you're going through this process. So we're on the emotional spectrum. So from 0 to 10, where do you follow in this grid is despair and hope. So how are you feeling? Are you feeling despair? Or are you
0
feeling
being despair and hope being 10.
Yes. Where are you on that scale? And that's something you should, be mindful of, maybe write down and see where you are in a month from now and see if you're getting better when you're making meetings or you're reaching out and getting some support and some help. So 0 being lonely and 10 being connected. 0 dread fear. 10 being safe, 0 being helpless, 10 being empowered, 0 being anxious, 10 being calm, 0 being frustrated, 10 being satisfied, 0 being exhausted, or 10 being motivated. So these are the things that we really have to consider when we're going through this in the beginning, especially. And
Right, and if you only jump up one digit in 5-6 months, it's still an improvement
exactly.
for the better. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Don't expect
Yes.
great strides at first. I mean, but it just kind of gives you a balance to look at and see if that you are making an improvement,
Right.
or maybe not. But
Right. And in this also, you can be feeling despair one day and move up to a 5 going towards the hope. And if a relapse recurs, you can go right back to 0, maybe 2. So these are sliding scales, so you can move back and forth on these scales
Right.
during this process.
And like more than anything, they provoke thought. I mean, it gives you a little more clear focus
Yeah.
on what's going on with you. So
Right.
it kind of breaks up all that chaos. And then you look at it and say, you know what, I do feel a little better. Maybe do a little better first, at least because now I see there's hope. So I can go up 1 or 2 points. Just stuff like that. There's these simple little exercises can become very helpful and help you develop the hope that you need, because so many of us feel hopeless, especially in the beginning.
Exactly.
I mean, it's all doom and gloom until you come on to my show and I give a little levity and I take the doom and gloom out of it all.
Right.
I
So,
try.
craft therapists use scales similar to these to measure the progress of family friends who come in for therapy. Keeping a record of your own emotional assessment scales will allow you to monitor how your emotional well-being changes over time. Consider recording your scales in a journal, looking back and comparing where you are today and where you were when you started. Can be a great motivator. This is especially true when you hit one of those periods when it seems like nothing you're doing is making a difference. And if there is one overriding fact in the world of behavior change, it is that people who record important information about their lives are the people most likely to succeed in making important changes in their lives. And you can find that in the Get Your Loved One Sober book as well. A great tool for those that are going through this and trying to.
And journaling all that important information, Larry, who's a regular on the show, Larry was very, very thorough in that through his recovery, and he talks about it on numerous occasions. And he journaled a lot of stuff like that and all. And He goes back from time to time and reads it.
And Barb, good night. Have a good weekend. If you need help or support, you know where I am. Give me a holler.
I'll be selling a lot of iced coffee tomorrow. I think it's going to be like 80.
Yeah. So everybody's heard of the oxygen mask, the rule for family and friends. Every time we fly, we hear the flight attendant sharing some variations of the oxygen mask rule. Should the cabin lose pressure, oxygen mask will drop down from an overhead area. Please place the mask over your own mouth and nose before assisting others. Why do they say that? What could possibly be wrong with helping others first? In the case of the airplane, oxygen masks are deployed in situations where the oxygen levels has dropped dangerously low. Without our oxygen mask, we will quickly lose consciousness. If we don't make putting on our mask our first priority, we will be very likely not to be able to help anyone. If someone we love has an addiction that is creating problems, it's natural to want to be part of that solution. As a result, we may find ourselves devoting abundant energy to the addiction in various ways, educating ourselves about addiction, trying to keep the peace with our loved one, worrying about the future, trying to influence our loved ones to address the problem. We may choose to do this willingly and lovingly, but in many cases our choice may come at an expense to our own physical and mental health. And that's what we have to really understand, that everything that we try to do, everything that we try to fix for them can become overwhelming for us. And when they're not doing the right thing, we can get very frustrated and very angry. And then we take it out in the screaming matches, which is very unhelpful. So that starts to affect us by stress. I know, I see parents, I see spouses, I see friends that suffer such stress and they start to get physically ill. And it could be, just the mental aspect of it. It could be ulcers. It could be,
And your blood pressure will start skyrocketing. Like, look how red my face is down. Mm-hmm. But
it is.
But you're no help if you're not healthy.
Right. So when it comes down to you using the tools to help them maybe look at, they're right, I should, consider doing this. And then they start working towards that and they're like, okay, I'm ready. Can you help me? And you're laying in a hospital bed. What are you going to do for them then? So we have to be very mindful. When helping, whatever that means in our situation, seems to leave little time for anything else, the result is quite often burnout. Some feelings that may accompany giving too much are exhaustion, frustration, and anger, along with possibly feeling ineffective, helpless, and hopeless. Rational emotive behavior therapy teaches that we are each responsible for our own happiness. When we find ourselves in a situation where our happiness is suffering, the oxygen mask analogy is helpful. To avoid burnout, managing our self-care is key responsibility to maintain our happiness, our physical health, and our mental health. It requires consciously planning to include time in our day to attend to our own needs and make that time a priority. If we don't, we eventually won't be able to care for others. What do we really need to maintain our physical and mental health? Exercise, good nutrition, alone time, social time, time for creative endeavors, medical care, and support groups are just a few ideas to consider. We may become so accustomed to dealing with the addiction or trying to help our loved one that it may feel wrong to give priority to our own needs. But doing so is critical. If we don't take care of ourselves, who will?
That's a great point there on that one, because so many people they feel guilty about being good to themselves, or going out to dinner, or doing the simplest things, because they feel like they should be home attending to their loved one at every moment, like their every movement, their every whim, because the obsession becomes so deep that you feel guilty to go out and enjoy yourself.
Yes, and
Like, how can I go out and enjoy myself while my loved one is suffering the way they are? Where they're not worried about your health.
No.
They're only worried about one thing.
right, and that's what you see most of the time in these meetings. Like, I can't go to this because they might need me, or they're gonna call, or you know what. So then step out of the room, answer the calls. If they're talking to you and they're not in that tone of wanting help, then move on, go back to the party and tell them that you will discuss it when you get home or what have you. That's important that we take that time for ourselves.
And then we use those skills that we told you about before, on how to communicate with your loved one, and not to be in a combative nature, challenging them to like a duel. To say, I hear what you say, and I get home, I think we should go over this and come up with a plan. I mean, you just diffuse the whole thing like that. Instead of, don't bother me now, I'm in
Right.
the middle of something, my God, give me 5 minutes myself, which you want to say, but you can't say that.
Right.
So I'd say, I understand that.
Right.
That sounds like something we should definitely, go over.
Right, and these are tools that aren't going to happen overnight. It's going to take some time and practice to get to those places. Airplanes have sensors to protect against oxygen deprivation. Fortunately, so do we. Our friends, relatives, and support group members, we do well to pay attention when we hear others reminding us to take care of us first, or reminding us of the oxygen mask rule. They are seeing signs of oxygen deprivation in our life, signs that we have not noticed ourselves. And that's the one thing that you really don't notice. You don't notice that you're, not spending time with your friends like you used to. You're not going grocery shopping as regularly as you should. You're not, it's just affecting every part.
You can't keep up with the laundry because you can't find the time, because you're on the phone calling these places and that place, and you can't focus, and you just got to sit down. You're totally spent and
Yes.
exhausted. I mean, and everything starts piling up in you, and then that starts to bother you and upset you.
Right. It's an ugly circle that you just keep chasing your tail, and nothing's changing. So that's when you have to really step back and reach out for that support, reach out for that help, reach out for that friend.
And really, it takes a lot to reach out for that help, and don't be ashamed, because you should be thankful that you have someone to reach out to.
Right.
That's a great bonus, because so many people don't even get this far, even to watch a show like this they don't know where to turn. So, like, next thing you know, 20 years went by, they've been suffering this with their loved one. They don't know what to do, how to treat it, and that's very common. I mean, so sometimes we got to make the first move to get the ball rolling.
Right.
And make a change in the whole process.
And that's why it's important to get to those support meetings, so that you learn these tools.
Right.
You learn these new ways to look at your life and go forward and move forward with it.
And you'll be shocked at how strong you get and how much you change. I mean, we hear that all the time. I mean, you'll shock yourself.
Yeah.
At some point, and we hear that all the time. I can't believe it. I told my loved one, I can't do this no more. I mean,
and this is also important, like, not only just with our loved one that is suffering, it's important, like, for any part of your life, that people that, are constantly saying, like, oh, well, they don't work, we'll ask them to do it. But we have to remember, like, just because they're not working outside of the home doesn't mean that they're not doing things as well. So it works, like, just not in the addictive world. This is a very important tool that we tend to forget about. So, look at it that way as well. It can help in all aspects of your life. So the importance of self-care. Being close to someone who has addictive behaviors can be very stressful. You may respond to the stress by doing more and more to try to fix the situation, often at the expense of your own needs. Unfortunately, this can lead to you becoming run down and exhausted. If you are not looking after your own needs and finding some balance in your life, it can be difficult to help anyone else or look after your family. You may find yourself dealing with extreme emotions, example, depression, anger, burnout. Therefore, it is important to take some time out to look after yourself. It's not selfish, it's self-care. And it is. It's so important.
Great catchphrase right there. It's not selfish.
No,
Self-care.
It's self-care.
I think I might
And-
start using that, Tim.
Yeah, and that's, and I'm finding myself doing that so much more right now because, we kind of forget about who we are. We're just trying to be there for everybody, and then we forget, oh, wait a minute, I need that. So make sure that, you're looking at that in all of your life, in everybody, your job, the people around you, your loved one that's sick. You have to remember to take care of yourself. You're not helping yourself or anyone else when you're struggling. Incorporating self-care into your life. Make daily self-care a top priority. Look after your health, your fitness, and your appearance. Actively plan for incorporating more fun into your life. Create a social circle, find a confidant. And that's important that, a lot of times we will go to somebody that we think, is close to us and think they can help us. And then
But
they turn into that person that just doesn't understand addiction.
Exactly.
And
so if they don't understand addiction, haven't educated, they can be more detrimental than helpful.
Right.
To you because, as I said before, so many people think they understand addiction, and it's really no more than an opinion that they have,
right.
lived with, and it's not fact-based.
Right, and it's stigmatized, so they're gonna look down at that person, at your loved one, where, finding the support groups that are out there are the one things that will help you get stronger and help you help your loved one the right way. So daily self-care might be something simple like making time to phone a friend, buying yourself a bunch of flowers, taking time out by going for a walk, or scheduling that overdue doctor's appointment that you've been putting off. It might be more elaborate, such as having a night out with friends and not talking about your loved one's problematic behavior, learning a new skill, having a weekend away, or going on a picnic or to the beach. And that's, so you think about some of the things that you enjoy doing. Grab a book, take it to the park, read your book,
Very important one on there. Putting off doctor's appointments. For fear, there's something going on. You put off that thing because you can't be going in the hospital right now, or because there's too much going on, and here this problem is only becoming worse for you. But you're putting it off for the good of your loved one, whereas you're putting your own life at risk. I mean, not to be exaggerated, but so many people, they put off a diagnosis or this and that. They know they got an issue, but I don't want to find out. I don't want to hear it now. It's not a good time. Well, the sooner the better on a lot of these things. They only get worse. They become more and more involved, and it's going to incapacitate you even longer or kill you. Mm-hmm. I mean, what good are you?
I mean, and like you're getting indigestion, your stomach is a mess. You're on the verge of an ulcer. So get to the doctor so that it doesn't get serious and you're not put into the hospital.
Not a stroke. I mean, we get ourselves so worked up, and our blood pressure and our anxiety and everything. You're chancing a stroke, and it's very likely. I mean, it's this emotional roller coaster. I mean, it takes its toll on you. You really got to be careful. You got to take it serious. You got to really worry about your own health and your own well-being. You really do. And I see it so many times. People don't. I mean, come on. That's the way we're always taught. Our whole lives, you always put your child first, your loved one first. That's human nature. That's what makes a good parent, a good spouse. I mean, you put your life on the line to save your children. You'd run into that burning building if need be. But like I said a million times, when it comes to addiction, all right, we really got to take a deeper look at things, to take a step back and see if we're really doing what's best for them. Because like I said a million times, if you're not careful, you can love your loved ones to death. And I just seen an article about that the other day about a woman in oh my goodness, where was it? It was out in the Midwest, one of Tampa. Anyway, they have a very big homeless population, very big drug problems, and the woman living on the street says that these people, they mean well, but I mean, I get up, I get high, I go eat for free. I go back and take a nap, I get high, I go eat again for free. She goes, they're just prolonging this addiction for us out here. We have no reason to change it up or stop. It's just this cycle just continues. I said, yeah, they're enabling us to death out here, and I like to hear that from somebody on the
That's
streets that was an
actually
active addiction.
using-
Wow, it was mind blowing.
Yeah, that's in it. So your benefits of self-care, aside from the obvious benefits of
Oh,
self-care.
it was Portland. It was out in Portland.
Aside from the obvious benefits of self-care, when you take care of your health, your fitness, and your appearance, you send a powerful message to yourself and to others. The message you send is that I am worthy of care and respect. Other people will often make assumptions about your expectations for the way they treat you, by how you treat yourself. To send a better message to others, make self-care a top priority in your life. Whatever aspect of self-care you choose to focus on first, planning ahead can be an effective strategy for keeping your self-care efforts a top priority. Love yourself first, and everything else falls in line. You really have to love yourself to get anything done in this world. And that is a quote from Lucille Ball. And I love her. She's awesome. So here's a little tool for you. Planning ahead for self-rewards. List some ideas for rewards, self-nurturing activities. If you are stuck, refer to a list of ideas for enjoyable activities, and I will go over some of those. Choose one that you think you could achieve in the following week. And that's important when you're doing these things. Think logically. Think about things that you have available at the ready, that you used to do and you used to enjoy. Don't think of things like that you've never done before, that you've wanted to do. Baby steps up to that. Especially if it's, they always say, this is one of the examples that I see in this program a lot. Like, I want to start exercising, so I'm going to start running a mile a day. And you haven't gotten off the couch in months, and you've never really exercised. So jogging a mile is probably not realistic for you. So you start off small by, taking a walk around the block. And, you build yourself up to walking maybe 3 blocks until maybe one day you are jogging. So that's kind of how you want to proceed with that. What do you need to do to make sure this happens? And that's another thing, like what will make you do what you want to achieve? You're not going to want to walk by yourself because, you want to have conversations. So bring a friend.
Or sandwich.
Yeah, walk with a
I'm
sandwich.
gonna have a sandwich. It would make it more interesting for me.
And what would get in the way of that happening for you? Your friend can't make it one day for whatever reason. Then, have a backup plan. Get a group together so that you always have somebody to walk with you. And that's kind of like the planning ahead. Always thinking, about the next thing. So that you can achieve all of the steps in all of the programs throughout this book. So, and the enjoyable activities list, this has in here, and I'll just social. So you look at your social things that you can be doing. Visit a friend, call a friend, go out for coffee.
Oh, we go see Barb.
Have
Go
a
for
meal
coffee.
out. Yep. Invite friends for dinner, ask for a hug, spend time with family, have a dinner party, join a social club. So that's all social activities that can help you, get out of the rut that you may be in. Recreational, go for a walk, listen to music, read a novel, go to a movie, go for a jog, do some gardening, go swimming, play sports, blah, blah, blah. Then there's the creative, and there are several others, but you get the gist of it. Go to the beach would be mine.
Pampering. Buy something nice for yourself. Yeah, no, that's a great one.
Being creative, write a poem, paint or draw a picture, cook a meal, redecorate a room, learn music instruments, sew or knit. So they're creative things.
Dress up in something
that you
nice.
can do.
That's Larry. If you
Yeah.
go down, he finds a nice new Marilyn Manson shirt or something there. He dresses
Exactly. Relax in a warm bath, have a massage, have a facial, watch DVD, go to the hairdresser, prepare your favorite meal, take a nap. Maybe not a DVD today, just, binge watch something. So you can do educational, visit the library, museum, enroll in a course that you've been interested in, read a book. Learn a foreign language. Yeah, that's that, and that.
We.
Yeah. So, and then,
Bon appetit.
and then if you don't see anything on this list, they, give yourself, other options, to help you through that.
Visit a buffet. Write that one
So, another tool is, things I would like to do less of. So just make a list of the things that you would like to do less of, like worrying all the time. Where are they? What are they doing? Following them or looking for them. Things like that. Now, how could I do this less? Instead of thinking about them, reading a book, watching TV, doing exercise, something that takes your mind away from that. Instead of, driving around looking for them, maybe go for a drive somewhere that that they're not going to be, and enjoy the scenery around you. So this is things that I would like to do more of. So, maybe you are reading, but you're not reading a whole lot. Maybe you're not, maybe it's the exercise you're doing, but you want to do more cardio or whatever. And how do I do this? You do this by finding, a friend or an instructor that will help you get through that. So these are just the different tools and, way that you can start journaling, that can help with that process. So relaxation is probably a very huge tool for self-care. And some obvious ways to relax include listening to quiet, pleasant music, using imagination and imaginary imagery to picture oneself in a relaxing scene, or using relaxation tapes. What follows here are some of the most well-known basic relaxation. While these may be ideal for many, every person is different. Find the practice, the relaxation process that works best for you. And especially, Larry says, get out of the house. That's like the most important, because, you know, you're in the house, you're seeing all the things that you're not getting done because you're just so paralyzed by what's going on. So get away from all the things that you know you have to get done, but you're just too.
Like my grandmother used to say, go outside and blow the stink off yourselves. That was one
Yes.
of her famous lines.
So the 4 basic elements of the relaxation response: a quiet environment, choose a place with as few distractions as possible. A mental device, a sound, word, or phrase repeated silently or aloud to focus concentration. Example, calm. Gazing at an object. Example, a candle is also often effective. A passive attitude, acknowledge and then disregard all distracting thoughts. Don't fight them, then return to your mental device. Don't rate or evaluate the quality of your relaxation while engaging in it. Just do it and accept it as good enough. Number 4, a comfortable position. Sit in a firm but comfortable chair or lie down on a firm surface. And these are just examples of the things that we can do to relax. How to relax: assume a comfortable position. Allow your eyes to doze. Breathe in long, slow, full breaths through your nose and pay special attention to the sound of your breathing. As you breathe out, say the word or phrase you choose as your mental device. Continue to breathe easily, fully, and naturally. And it sounds so ridiculous.
Like a hypnotist. You are a chicken.
Yeah, but it really is helpful, and I can honestly say, look at YouTube and find relaxation breathing, and you know, just meditation. Look up some yoga for stress or what have you. These are just some of the things that you can really get a lot out of. If you've never done it, just try to find those YouTubes that are helpful, that you enjoy doing. Deeply relax all of your muscles. Allow your whole body to go limp like a rag doll. Any tense muscle or muscle group may be tightened, held tight for a few moments, and then released to create greater relaxation. Notice the increased relaxation and warmth following the release. Continue this for 10 to 20 minutes. When you have finished, sit quietly for a few minutes before you stand up. Attend to and enjoy your increased sensation of relaxation. And that is very important. I have found that. And Louise Hay has some good YouTube videos. And that is from one of our listeners or watchers or both. Use this technique twice daily. Do not attempt to evaluate your success or expect it to work immediately. Such a radical shifting in gears will take time and continued practice. Practice twice each day and allow that feeling of deep relaxation to come to you rather than trying to find it. And that is so true. And the most important thing is, when you're doing this, find a space that isn't full of clutter, that doesn't have the bills that you're looking at, or where your loved one happens to be, that gets you stressed. So find a place, go to a park, put your earbuds in, and just sit and listen to the YouTubes and really get into it. Use your phone for your YouTube.
Don't forget the good old library. They're still out there. And they're very quiet.
They actually have them.
I love to hang out at the library. I haven't
He
done it in a
does.
while,
It
but
drives me
I'm a
nuts,
weirdo.
but he does.
Now that we got all this at our fingertips to look at all this crazy
Right.
stuff, man, I would just go to the library and just pull out books on something I know nothing about, and I'd just be fascinated.
And to tell you the truth, starting this out, getting up early and starting this, starting your day, maybe do it at lunchtime as well, and before you go to bed. These are the most important times of your day. In the morning, it sets your emotions for the day. Think of good, quotes in the morning to help you, get in a good place in your head. And then if you have, time at lunch, if you work, go outside, go to a quiet space in the office somewhere, and just try to find yourself doing these particular practices. And then especially before you go to bed, get a shower, do your relaxation, do your meditation. It will just be so helpful to your body. And I can't say enough about it. It sounds so simple, and like they say, let it happen. Don't push it. Don't, like, it's not working, but just clear your head, and that's the most important thing. So no, this is best done before meals, or at least 2 hours after meals, since it tends to slow the digestive process. Also, it's best to practice relaxations at times other than just before going to sleep. Okay, so it's saying not to, but I highly suggest it because it does help me. But everybody is different, so you find your own times that you feel it most important to you. I do like getting the relaxation and the breathing before bed. So we have this list here, and it's called the Personal Bill of Rights. And I'm just going to go down real quick. If there's something that radiates with you, then feel free to pop in the comments, call in 267-737-8031. We're here, we're listening. But it's the Personal Bill of Rights. I have the right to ask for what I want. I have the right to say no to requests or demands I can't meet. I have the right to express all my feelings, positive or negative. I have the right to change my mind. I have the right to make mistakes and not have to be perfect. I have the right to follow my own values and standards. I have the right to say no to anything when I feel I am not ready, it is unsafe, or it violates my values. I have the right to determine my own priorities. I have the right not to be responsible for others' behavior, actions, feelings, or problems. I have the right to expect honesty from others. I have the right to be angry at someone I love. I have the right to be uniquely myself. I have the right to feel scared and say, I'm afraid. I have the right to say, I don't know. I have the right not to give excuses or reasons for my behavior. I have the right to make decisions based on my feelings. I have the right to my own needs for personal space and time. I have the right to be playful and frivolous. I have the right to be healthier than those around me. I have the right to be in a non-abusive environment. I have the right to make friends and be comfortable around people. I have the right to change and grow. I have the right to have my needs and wants respected by others. I have the right to be treated with dignity and respect. I have the right to be happy. I have the right to think about me without feeling selfish. So, one of the things they have here as a tool that they use, if you carefully read through this list every day, eventually you will learn to accept that you are entitled to each of these rights. I'll try to remember to take a photo of this with on my
just trying to
phone.
figure out if I could take a photo and put it up on that, but
Yeah.
we'll just put it up on the page.
Yeah, so I will put it on the page. So,
I can't even comment tonight for some reason.
so,
Don't give me the option.
so there you go with that. But that is section 2, and it's probably one of the most important sections that we can, do for ourselves while our loved ones are still, dealing with their addiction or their treatment process. And these are all tools that they also learn in their recovery process.
Option to put photos
It
up.
is so very important that we take care of ourselves and make sure that we are doing that on the daily basis, because if we're not, then we're falling into the trap of unhealthy behavior, failing health. So these are all things that are very important as we go through this with our loved ones or other things in our lives. And I'm dealing with a lot of, I'm not dealing with it, but I'm seeing a great deal of situations where loved ones are really struggling. And our mental health right now is just so bad right now. Suicide is so high right now, and we need to, get a grip on, what we can do for our loved ones. We can pull all we want, hon. It's just there.
It's bunching on me.
But I've been seeing a lot of this lately. I've been seeing it in the news. I've been hearing it on pages. The only thing I can say, whether it's drug induced or not, if you have a loved one out there and they're even considering the thought of harming themselves or anyone else, the best thing you can do is call 911. I mean, that is the most important thing you can do. Whether they're serious about it, whether it's just attack to manipulate us to get what they want, it is the most important thing you do. It doesn't matter, if they were just saying it to get your attention or they were just saying it to manipulate to get what they want. It is so important that we get a paper trail and we get the help that they need, because you never know if they are just saying it out of anger and trying to manipulate, or they're just so tired and don't feel that they can, stop using, or, it may be somebody being bullied. It may be somebody that is being taunted because, money's owed to dealers or what have you. They think that there's no way out. Call 911. That is the most important step you can take. And, it can save them. It can put them into a place where they're getting the help that's truly needed. And, when the police get there and take them to, be 302'd, whatever happens, they're not going to be the happiest people. But that's when you say, I'm sorry, but this was your consequence. You're telling me that you want to do self-harm to yourself or others. I have to be proactive in that, and I have to protect you or whoever else. You need help, and this is the only way I can see that I can help. So please just really make that call, because that is so important. And a lot of times it's a manipulative move.
It is, and we're so quick, like, oh, she's just being dramatic. She does this all
Right.
the time. Gotta be very careful with that.
Right. And he could do it 15 times, but
So
you
when
want
they
to
go off,
stop
it's
it.
a lot of times the split second decision, they like flip a switch, and then the worst can happen. I mean, it's not necessarily contemplated a long time or thought about. Sometimes it's just a rash decision.
Right.
I mean, they come to a tipping point or this or for whatever reason.
Especially with our system. Our system is so flawed. So when they are ready to get help, and they're ready to make that phone call, and they're ready to get into that treatment center, and they say, okay, call us back on Monday, we might have a bed. There's such frustration, because they're hurting. They're ready for the help, and they can't get it. So 911, I can't stress that enough, to get that call in and get them the help that they need, whether they mean it or not. Just, we're losing way too many people from suicide. It's devastating. Just as much as an overdose, losing our loved ones to an overdose, losing our loved ones to anything. But suicide is just, they don't feel that they're hurting anybody else. They'll be so much better off if I'm not here. And that's so not true. Even though they're causing like total hell in our lives, we don't want to see them, take their life. We want to see them get healthy. We want to see them get well. And there's no other way to do that than, calling 911. That might be the one phone call that gets them that bed, that takes them that extra mile to get that help. So please be proactive in that, and get them the help that they need. So I know it's a little heavy, and I'm sorry, but it's a holiday as well, and holidays are when a lot of this occurs. So especially when they see that the families are getting together and having fun, and they're miserable, and they don't know how to stop, and they don't know how to get to that place where everybody else around them is. So just be proactive, and get some information on suicide, get some phone numbers that you can get educated on that as well. And if it's manipulation, it's manipulation. You're doing what you feel is best for your loved one, and that's the most important thing that we can stress, is that we're doing all that we can. And another thing that I'm seeing a lot in groups and in support is we've done possibly everything that we could, financially, physically, mentally, and the worst case happens, or, they just continue on that, destruction. You can't beat yourself up. You have to, you can't beat yourself up. You just have to, know that you did all that you can. And that doesn't mean that they're going to, get better or anything. It just means that, they're not ready yet. So just keep doing what you're doing.
I'm just trying to find the new numbers in the United States, our life expectancy has dropped again, twice now. Mainly due to the amount of overdoses in the United States. It keeps shaving a couple more years off our average life expectancy. I couldn't find, I just read it yesterday, and I'm trying to find the latest numbers, but it's frightening because, I think back in the 1900s, it started out at our life expectancy was like 47 years. And we climbed all the way up into the 70s, and now it's dropping down to around 70. It was from 77, we're down to 70. Don't quote me on that. No, I read it last night, but I do remember the 47 in the 1900s. Life expectancy was 47. I give my answer to that. The reason for that is there was no air conditioning. We had no will to live. That's my thought on it.
Exactly. That is true. I remember we went to Florida, and we took one of those buses to get to my grandparents' house, and the woman was on the bus with us, elderly woman. She's really funny and really nice, and she was telling us the ruination of Florida was air conditioning.
The ruination.
The ruination. She said they used to, when growing up, they all would get, their pillow and sleep out on in the Florida room, and because they had fans and the breeze coming in.
Please.
And, that's when the family unit was really close. And she said, and then air conditioning came, and then everybody stayed in their own rooms and never came
Kind of like
out.
what social media did to us. It's the second go round, creating isolation.
I was like, I have to kind of agree on that. I want to be cool in the summer, but
And nothing like laying out in the Florida room, looking at Dad in his boxers out there in the Barco lounger.
I would hope Dad was in shorts and not boxers.
Different times back then.
But it is. It's just. I hate the humidity, but I don't care. I hate winter, so. But I do like air conditioning. I don't know.
We love air conditioning.
I don't know how anybody ever went without it. It's crazy. But anybody out there struggling, please, please, please give us a call in at 267-737-8031 or pop it into the comments. We are here. We are listening.
That number's always good, even after the show. Remember, you can always call that number and get a hold of Lori.
Yes. And we're here to talk about anything that you need help with. If it's not something that we've gone through, it's something that we've heard in a meeting or just through different pages that we follow.
If it's something that you heard and you're not sure of or what to make of it, call in and ask. I mean, don't feel free. I mean, we hear a lot what's going on, all the latest this and that, and if we don't have the answer, we can get it for you. But I mean, so people are just curious about things like what do you think about this kratom, and we hear that a lot, or stuff like that. We'll tell you what it is and what we think about it and what we've heard. And I'll just for an example. I mean, it could be a million different things. But.
Right. And Google is amazing, and so is YouTube on getting the information as well. And that's where I go to get, if I don't know what you're asking or what you're needing, if it's
And if it's a religious-based question, we won't ask Larry.
yeah. but that's important. And again, I hope you're liking the last 2 weeks of the show. If you've tuned in both days,
Yeah, let us know what you think
weeks.
about this course. I mean, if it's advantageous, if you find it interesting. I mean, we think it gets more information out instead of just yakking about different things of interest.
Right.
It's very good information. We feel very strongly about this course. We like what it says. We agree with what it says.
Yeah. And
they're all
like,
kind of related. All these different courses. You'll notice a lot of
Yes.
similarities, like
Yes.
we're like the craft types
craft.
system and all. They're all kind of intertwined a little bit there, and you might find different similarities.
Right. And the most important thing is the tools that they have. These are things that we forget to think about when we're in our heads with our loved ones, with our job, with life itself. I mean, it doesn't help. It helps with more than just dealing with a loved one that is actively using. So, remember that as well. But I just want to remind everybody as well that we also have all of the shows that we have done and record it, so you can always go back if you didn't catch the first week of this smart recovery process. Last week was show 112, right? I think it was 112. I think we're 113 tonight. Show 112 also has.
We're on 14 tonight.
So it's a 13 or 14, 12, 13, 14.
Whatever it takes. 220, 221, no.
So whatever this one comes up, it was the one last Friday. But yeah, I mean, check it out and see if you like the chapter 1 was
For lovers, you love it with all your heart. Oh, sorry.
change and motivation, and tonight was self-care. But there's also other shows that we have done, the 113, 14 shows that we have done that have been recorded, and you can go back and just go through them as needed.
Goodness,
And
pardon me.
an important thing that we're asking is, if you are liking what you're seeing, please, like and share, because you never know who needs to see this. You don't know who needs to hear something or see something in the comments that comes up that can really help them, and help them to just get stronger. And maybe something that was said in the comments, something that was said as a caller in, or something they heard us talking about with some of our guests, you never know if that might be that one thing that clicks, and they want that, they want to get better and they want to go to treatment. So, I hope you guys are enjoying this. If you are new here, and want to hit the subscribe button, that would be awesome, because I just want to keep it going. I want to be able to help whoever I can, because I know where I was when we first started going through this, and how lost and alone I felt.
And we're just trying to get the word out. We are not monetized.
Yes.
We don't make any money off the views or the subscriptions or any of that. We don't ask for any money. We don't. No. We just want to get out to as many people as we can and get the word out and help them like we were helped.
Yes, and that's the only reason I'm doing this, is because I was so lost and so alone. I had no idea where to go, where to turn, and in the very beginning, you start hearing people telling you, this, that, and the other thing, and you're just so distraught in the beginning that you're not really hearing what they're really saying. until you start going out there to the different meetings and you start talking to different people.
And there's a lot of meetings out there, and you may reach out and go to one of these such meetings and be totally turned off by it.
Right.
I mean, and then say to yourself, it's not for me. Well, there's
Right.
a lot of meetings, a lot of different approaches. Well, don't give up on the first one you've tried out. I mean,
Right.
we ask you to, shop around, find something that resonates with you, somewhere you feel comfortable. I mean, if you're in the area, man, we ask, please try out our family meeting at Living Ground on every other Wednesday. It's a very, very comfortable group. We're getting back to our old numbers again. We had like 30 people, over 30 people this Wednesday, which was awesome. I mean, we're getting back to pre-pandemic numbers. But but anything, find a meeting, because you need the education, the guidance to ground yourself and to get your life back under control and realize you're not in this alone. This is a very, very widespread problem throughout the whole United States. I mean, there's a lot of family members going through this, and there's a lot of help for the people suffering from a substance use disorder, but most often the families are left behind. And that's what we noticed, after doing outreach for years. We've seen there's plenty of help out there for the people suffering with the disease. All they have to do is want to ask for it or take advantage of it. And the families are just left in a blur. They don't know where to turn, what to do. They're lost, they're frightened, as they should be. I mean, so that's why we do what we do. We're just trying to give back and help you guys out the best we can.
And you can check out the partnership. That's the Craft, which goes hand in hand with this. It's pretty much the same.
There's a lot of things that be a part of the conversation. There's
Yeah.
another big meeting type thing out. I
And
think
they
they're
have a
all
lot
over.
of podcasts. They have a lot of Zoom,
Let's
lessons
not forget,
and stuff.
I mean, there's Nar-Anon and Al-Anon. I mean, it's not for everybody. It's a more regimented type meeting. But it helps a lot of people.
It does.
I mean, a lot of people like it and abide by it, and it helps them get their life back on track.
And Craft is community reinforcement and family training, and it's an approach. It's an approach for our loved ones to, find the recovery that is best for them, and changing the conversation for our loved ones so that they can feel that we're listening, that we're doing the best we can to understand it, and we're there to help them, but not enable them. That's the most important. Helping them see that they can do for themselves, and find that treatment. So these are all just great tools for the community out there. Check with your pop in anything in your Google search, or what's the other one, Bing or whatever, and
Bing,
look for
whatever your search engine may be.
Yeah, look for organizations that help with substance use disorder, addiction, alcoholism, drug addiction, everything that comes up in your area. Look at the rehabs in your area. Reach out to them. See what they have available as far as support groups.
And what's neat, like, how they're always spying on us, social media and all that. So when you start looking up on some of these things, you'll notice things related to this come up in your feed. You'll get some of the latest, stories or what may be coming down in regards to rehabilitation and this and that. And
Right.
It'll start showing up in your feed, and you keep abreast of what's going on.
And especially reaching out to anything to do with like behavioral mental health. A lot of that is aligned with dual diagnosis, which is addiction and mental health. Call these places and see if they have events going on, or town hall meetings or educational programs that you can go out and learn and get the education that's so desperately needed, in understanding what our loved ones are going through and how we can help them without supporting them in their addiction. So, with that, these are just tools and different avenues to really look at to help you, get educated on yourself, because that is what is so important. When we first got into this, I was blessed because at that time, the anonymous program was kind of falling to the wayside, and people were talking. People were getting on social media and expressing their journeys through addiction and recovery, and different rehabs and different, things like Smart Recovery, Nar-Anon. They were out there and telling the world that there is help out there and this is how you can get it. And people sharing their stories, their journeys, and
And don't be
resonating.
ashamed to ask for help. You'd be surprised how
Absolutely
many of your
not.
friends are taking advantage of help. I mean, people try to keep everything hush hush, and they're
Right.
afraid, they're embarrassed, and all, which we understand that.
Right. And
But
another thing.
reach out.
Yeah, if you walk into a meeting and you see somebody walk in with your head high, because guess what? They're in the same situation as you, and they can help you and support you as well. So, get to these meetings, whichever one, just find the one that fits and feels good for you.
And walking into a meeting and take the risk of maybe being recognized, well, that's the one place you're not going to be judged.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You got to look at it that way.
Yeah, bring a friend. If you need support, that friend will be getting the education with you and helping you through that when you least expect it. So, sorry we kind of got started late because, like I said, it's life on life's terms. Like this, but we will be back here next Friday, and we'll be doing chapter 3, which is, let's see, and like I
remember.
said, go back and check it out. And Inner Dialogue will be section 3 of the Smart Recovery Family and Friends. So check it out, smartrecovery.org. That's what we're working off of. And sharing with you as just a tool. So everybody have a great holiday. Be safe. Think of our loved ones that fought for our freedoms, that didn't make it back.
Remember, thank a veteran this weekend
Yes,
if you can.
yes, or bless a veteran this weekend.
Say, I
because,
thank you for your service.
Yes.
And with that being said, when the bid is all good night, I hope you all have a really nice weekend, enjoyable weekend. And as always, remember, recovery works if you work it.
Peace out, everybody.
Yeah,